Welcome to the March 13th Michigan Financial Wellness Network Partner Coffee Chat. I'm Kelly Masters, your founder and chair, and I have just a few updates to share today since it is just a couple weeks before Financial Literacy Month. I'm going to go through those updates for the good of the order, and then I'm going to turn it to the room so that I can hear what's happening with each of you, what your offer is or your ask is, and go from there. So let's see. You all know how to reach me, right? mifinancialwellness@gmail.com is my email. I work some wonky hours, so you can always email me whenever, the need strikes, and I'm very good at responding to email. So today's agenda, I again just want to go over a few of our flagship initiatives, updates on where things stand for those. We're always seeking sponsorship for our programming. As I said, we're going to do a little bit of information sharing with those who could make it today. And then want to find out what you guys think about an April meeting. I haven't yet scheduled April or May. Participation seems to fall off during Financial Literacy Month. I think it's because everyone is very busy. And then, of course, we're getting to the end of the school year, which is a different, frenetic time of our seasonal cycle. So I want a little input on what we should do for April and May. So our flagship initiative updates, FemPreneur Summit, I'll share that is happening next Wednesday. Funding the Future. I was hoping that Cheryl could be here today to provide any updates that they may have from Funding the Future. We'll see if she chimes in. Our Smart Money Kids Read, of course, we are still seeking a sponsor to make that happen on a broad scale. My heart is very sad that we're not doing that right now with our at-risk elementary schools. Smart Money Kids Read. We're on board for that. I was thinking about Smart Money Magic Show. So those are the four things that I will share updates on. Just a few pictures here that show you visually up in the upper right-hand corner that was taken at a Smart Money Kids Read program a couple of years ago, an activity the kids were doing around saving. Down in the lower right, that was a shot from one of our Funding the Future events at a middle school. And then this is actually in the lower left-hand corner, our panelist graphic for the 2025 FemPreneur Summit. So we finally have that ready to go. Last month, I still had last year's graphic there. FemPreneur Summit is happening next Wednesday, and the marketplace exhibits are sold out. We do not have any more space. We are capped at 35, and we are at capacity for our marketplace of exhibitors. And they're both business to business and business to consumer. We have a nice mix. Also a mix of products and services. We work really hard to make sure that we have a diverse array of interesting exhibitors every year. And I think this year is super exciting. We have several new exhibitors as well as quite a few returning exhibitors who just love the event so much. So although we cannot accept sponsors in competing categories, such as Lake Trust Credit Union is our title sponsor, Lajeunesse Insurance Agency is our money segment sponsor, Mercer Advisors, they're financial advisors. They are the sponsor of our marketplace. And then FMD CPAs is the sponsor of our community art piece. We do a graffiti art, inspirational piece of graffiti art all together. And then this year we're donating it to a new program that's actually housed at Ward Church, specifically focused on preschool for autistic children. So we're very excited about and appreciative of those four sponsors, but we're always looking for additional sponsors outside of those four business categories who might like help underwrite this initiative to empower, inspire, and lift up entrepreneurial women. So registration is open for participants. We do have capacity. So if you're looking for a great day to connect with other women, please register and come. It's like a $200 day for $50. This is a passion project of mine and Heather's. Heather McGlone is my co-planner for the last, 8 years of the 12 years I've been doing this. And this is not a money-making event for us. It's basically a break-even event with some funding that helps to fund some things for the Michigan Financial Wellness Network year-round. But we intentionally keep the price point affordable because we don't want that to be a barrier for any woman who would like to come and have an amazing, inspirational, insightful, and educational day, connecting with like-minded women from all walks of life and all business areas. So if you're interested in that, it is on Eventbrite. You can take a screenshot or a picture of the QR code right there that will take you to the registration page, or always email me at mifinancialwellness@gmail.com and I can send you the registration link where there's just a ton of details about the day on that registration page. So even if you choose not to attend, you could still learn a lot about what we're doing, who will be there, our exhibitors, and so forth at that link. Our Funding the Future initiative is a full-on rock and roll live concert that is about 20 minutes that precedes an informational presentation by the band leader himself. So this spring's tour, we will have Carter Halsey, who we love. He's kind of an Americana rock and roll, very successful artist. And he will be in Michigan March 31st through April 4th. So coming very soon. And this is the schedule thus far. So if you work with a middle or elementary school in proximity to any of these locations, really any of Southeast Michigan, probably as far north as Flint, into the thumb a bit, and a little bit west and north of or west of here, we have openings. So March 4th or April 4th in particular. And then we could also do a second show if it was in proximity to one of the other 4 locations. So we have done 2 shows a day, but it does take significant setup and tear down time because it is a, like I said, full on rock concert with PowerPoint after presentation. They bring all their own sound equipment, their own sound engineer. It's an amazing program, and it breaks down the walls so that the kids can actually hear the message because they've been grooving to the music. And the speaker isn't a boring parent or teacher. It's a cool rock and roll dude that is talking to the youngsters about age appropriate issues relative to financial literacy. So if you work with a middle or high school, feel free to email me at mifinancialwellness at gmail.com, and I can connect you with the scheduler who knows all the particulars and has the up-to-date schedule. Now, our Smart Money Kids Read is rolling along. The books have been shipped. They shipped a week ago Monday, so most locations should have received them by now. Activity supplements and the associated graphics for the program have all been emailed to all partnering libraries. We have 160 some libraries across the state of Michigan who are participating this year, giving away 8,000 copies of this year's chosen book, Save It by Cinders McLeod. So this program is rolling along. If anyone has questions, we did do a deep dive for librarians that is recorded and on our YouTube channel. So librarians can go and hear ideas from other librarians of how they're implementing their program, activities they might be doing. We also did a deep dive for credit unions. So if you're a credit union representative who is partnering with a library, I can also email you the link of that recording that is available on demand, again, from our YouTube channel. So either one of those segments can email me if you'd like to have a link to the recordings that we did for those 2 groups. Or if you still need the activity supplements or the graphics. So the graphic in the lower left-hand corner of your screen is this year's Smart Money Kids Read graphic we asked to be used in all marketing. And then in the upper right-hand corner is just a copy of the cover of the book. And that's little Honey, the main character there on the cover. Her name is Honey, and she lives in Bunnyland, where carrots are currency. And she has quite a dilemma about what to do for some peace and quiet because she has 5 bouncy, loud siblings that she takes care of to earn her allowance. And she wants to buy her own house so she has a place to go for peace and quiet. So it's a wonderful story with lots of teachable moments and really great illustrations, brightly colored pages, good solid paper, all the things that we look for. So feel free to reach out if you have questions about this, but we are rolling along. Our Smart Money Magic Show, we are still looking for a sponsor. It would probably be for the 2025-26 season at this point. I don't know if we'd be able to get something scheduled for the balance of this school year, but typically this is an assembly model that we do in elementary schools for K through fifth grade students, teaching six basic money concepts using humor, magic, sleight of hand, audience participation. You can see there in the picture. I think that show was in Southwest Detroit. We had 350 children. You can see it's very engaging. It's a lot of fun. The kids love it. The teachers love it. And our performer is fantastic in managing large groups and keeping everyone engaged. So if you have ideas about sponsorship, please let me know. We do have a co-sponsorship opportunity with the Michigan Credit Union Foundation. But we do need to find funding because the schools that we go into very likely do not have funding for this kind of a financial literacy program. And so those are all of my updates. If anyone has questions, I can go back to the FemPreneur Summit or Funding the Future or our Smart Money Kids Read program. I'm happy to answer questions on any of those. So I'll pause now and ask you to unmute if you have questions about any one of those initiatives. I'm going to take a drink of my hot water, and then we can proceed to the next segment of the meeting. But I want to pause in case anyone has questions.
Hi, good morning.
Morning. Did you have a question for us?
Yes. Yeah, the say Smart Money Kids Reads program. I mean, I guess what type of programs get the books? I mean, like, yeah, do people qualify
So
to get books and how are they funded? That kind of stuff.
yeah, sure. So our Smart Money Kids Read program, we're going on, I think this is our 11th year of doing this. So each year I evaluate all of the books available from a publisher that are age appropriate for story time children at libraries. So typically it's that 3 to 6 year old age group. And our generous sponsor since the beginning has been the Michigan Credit Union Foundation. And the funding comes from their, I don't know, 400 credit union members. So they're our partners on that initiative. And so they provide the money for me to purchase the 8,000 copies or 9,000 copies of the book every year. Then I work with the state of Michigan, and every public or district library across the state of Michigan is allowed to request copies of the book to utilize in their story times. So some libraries will simply convert an existing story time. Let's say they do story time every Tuesday at 2 o'clock or 10 a.m. They can simply convert one of their story times in the month of April during Financial Literacy Month to a money theme and request copies of that book from me so that every family who attends gets to keep a copy of that book to take home. And then they will do activities around that theme of money. So they might have finger puppet plays or coloring sheets, or they might have a little lemonade stand where students have money to purchase their snack. Some libraries really go wild, and they'll do like a whole craft with piggy banks and decorating them, and make sure every child has a penny to put in their piggy bank to take home. So it really runs the gamut of how I don't prescribe how libraries implement the program. The only caveat is that they utilize our book in some way. They do it during April, which is Financial Literacy Month, and that every family who attends gets a copy of the book to take home. So how they implement it, I don't prescribe. The simplest way is for them to convert an existing story time, as I suggested, but libraries are very creative and they do it in all kinds of ways. So if a library participates in their interlibrary delivery system, which is called RIDES, RIDES, then I can get them enough copies of the book for them to utilize during a story time in the month of April. Now, there's a second track to this, which we've expanded over the past few years. That is our very direct from me to the libraries, and they typically partner with a local credit union on their story time for the month. There's a separate track of member credit unions that are part of the Michigan Credit Union League who contribute funding to the foundation, where they can request copies of the book to do programming with their other community partners, such as Boys and Girls Clubs or local community groups, a local faith-based organization, schools, elementary schools or preschools or Head Starts. So the credit unions themselves have access to a bank of books that we purchase extra that they can utilize to do programming in non-library settings. So hopefully that answers that question. And I do have overrun this year. So if you know of a library who may not have already requested their books, I can tell you, if you were to email me the name of the library and the city it's located in, I can look at my request list and I can tell you whether or not they've already requested books.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, I have some partnerships of quite a few of the librarians in this area, and I don't know if I've seen this coming up here in Ypsi. I live in Ypsilanti. Yeah, so I'm just
Well, if you
curious.
want to email me the name of a library.
Yeah,
I can look at my request
oh,
list and I can tell you with certainty whether or not they have.
yeah,
And if they haven't, it just might mean that they're not aware. They
yeah,
they may
yeah.
not be aware. They may not read the list serve. They
Hmm.
just may have forgotten. I mean, there's all kinds of reasons.
Yeah, that's
Most
awesome.
librarians that I know love free books to give to children. So
Correct. Yes.
it's usually an issue of either they forgot,
Yeah,
they didn't know, they didn't see the email.
yeah,
Um, or
that's
they think
awesome.
it's too much work, which is why I
Yeah,
tell them, if you already do a story time Thursdays at 10:30, just convert it one week to do
correct.
something around money. And we even have a list of ideas that librarians
Hmm.
have shared, like activity ideas. So it
Yeah,
is really turnkey without being onerous.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Um, So I'm going to ask, let's see, who shall I call on? So if I can ask Jacqueline, oh my gosh, Beaver Island, I'm so excited that you're here. Have your books made it to the airport yet? I guess is my first question.
We received the books last week. Thank you.
So, okay, so this is a fun story of, um, very few barriers are too big that can't be overcome. So tell us where you're located and what we've had to figure out to do so that you could participate.
Well, we're on an island in northern Lake Michigan, and so we don't participate in rides, and so we had to check with one of the library that's nearest us on the mainland and asked if we could have them shipped to them through rides, and then would they take them to the airport for us and send them over, and that's what ended up happening. So it all worked out.
Is this year two we've done this?
I think so. I think we did it last year too.
Last year, yes. I was like, I don't know how to get to Beaver Island, but we've got to figure this out. You want books? I want to get you books. So literally, it's like ships, planes, trains, automobiles, and now boats
And
to
boats,
get
yeah.
to Beaver Island Library.
Yeah.
So is this then, Jacqueline, your second year? I think this is overall the second year you've participated in our
Yes.
Smart Money Kids Read program, right?
Yes. And we do a story time, a weekly story time that we just convert to doing a money one, and doing the reading and activities around that theme, around the book.
Great. And did you receive the activity supplements that I emailed
Yes.
out? Were you able to
Yep.
access them in the library idea list?
I believe so. I'll have to ask I have a children's librarian that'll be actually doing this. So,
Okay,
uh,
because some people, the files were so big that Google sent them as a Google Drive file that you had to ask permission to access.
oh,
And so
okay.
I've been granting access as quickly as they come in, and I just don't
Hmm.
want to miss anybody.
Okay. Yep. I will double check on that and see if she got them printed out.
Great. And you
Okay.
don't have to use them. These are just options, right? Like I
It's some
make it clear, you
ideas.
don't have to use what we're sending. You might have better stuff, but it's just, trying to make it easy for people.
Right. Yep.
All right. So I see Kristen joined us. Can you rename yourself, Kristen, to include your credit union name? And I'm going to ask Lacey, since Lacey joined us earlier, if you can unmute and just tell us a little bit of what you're doing, who you are and if you have any needs or anything to offer. Lacey, are you there? Maybe Lacey can't hear me. We'll come back to Lacey. Is it, so you and I have not yet met. Is it Lynn?
Yes, it's Lynn.
Lynn,
Hi,
so I'm
Kelly.
looking forward to meeting you next Wednesday. So go ahead and
Yes.
introduce yourself and share with us what it is that you do. And if you have anything to offer, or if you're seeking any resources, or this is our ask and offer period.
Yes, awesome. Thank you. Thank you for the welcome. Hi, everyone. My name is Lynn. I'm here in Ypsilanti. I am a financial professional and financial educator. So I own and run the Ypsilanti Financial Education Center. And I am a part of a large network of financial educators all over US and Canada, whose mission is to ensure 30 million families are financially educated. So toward that effort, our work is to offer free financial education workshops. So I have access to 6 or 7 different workshops that people can attend to absolutely for free. Locally at the center, my mission is to kind of create more financial literacy in the Ypsilanti, Ann Arbor, Detroit area. Um, yeah, so I've been established as a center for about 2 years now, but I've been working in the financial industry for about 4 years, and I have a really big passion for financial literacy because I really think it is the equalizer in our community. So if I can support more people to become financially literate, and I love, yeah, I came upon this as well as I was invited to the summit next week. So I'm very excited, Kelly. Thank you for organizing the event. And then I saw this email come through. I'm like, what is the Financial Wellness Network? So I was just at an event speaking about financial wellness last weekend, and this came through, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to know what this is. There's something here. I'd love to explore it because I truly do believe that finance is at the core of a lot of the wellness issues and the hundreds of clients that I've seen over the last 4 years. I really want to figure out what's my role in continuing to support this effort. Yeah, and then I don't know if I have an ask or an offer. I'm kind of new here, so of course, during Financial Literacy Month, kind of what our organization offers is a lot of free workshops. So any connections, organizations who may be interested or need. So I'm talking for us is personal finance workshops that are for adults, but the content is actually very accessible to all. And I also have a background as a university educator and facilitator. So I actually love kind of educating young people. And so I tend to kind of shift a lot of my curriculum based on who I'm serving. So like last year, I was helping some teens at the Washtenaw County Jail. So like people really needed financial literacy. And so I'm really open, and I love these things that you're just sharing with me. And I'm super excited to see how I can stay connected. Yeah.
That's awesome. And so, yeah, so Lynn is one of our new exhibitors at the FemPreneur Summit that's happening next Wednesday. So, oh, so Lacey said she's here. She has no asks. We're very busy with classroom presentations and readings for March's Reading Month. 1,500 students throughout the community. Super. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so why don't I ask Kristen? Kristen, can you unmute and introduce yourself and share a bit of what you do, and if there's anything that you're seeking or offering?
So I'm Kristen, T&I Credit Union. We're in Southeast Michigan. I work in business development right now, which is also kind of the financial education portion of it. We're a really small credit union, so I wear a few hats around here. The financial education part of my position is really important to me. I've been working with the local school district around us for 8 years now. This will be our second year partnering with the Smart Money Reads, the Michigan Financial Wellness Network, to get the books into the hands of the littles near us. So this year we're doing 3 kindergarten classes with one of the local schools. We're going to do a read along, we're going to have snacks, and then we have a craft that's planned. So that's so far what we've got for this year.
Fantastic. Fantastic. That's awesome. And have you seen the book yourself? Have you like
Yes.
seen the actual book? So you do know that although the story itself is written for a very young reader, very young audience, the concepts in there with that worksheet, they
Mm-hmm.
don't call it a budget, they don't call it a spending plan, but that can be used up through second grade. Easy.
Okay.
Yeah. Because if you look at it, she's like, well, I earn 2 carats a week. In order to save up for my dream house, I need 10 carats. I could save them all for 5 weeks and get it in 5 weeks, but then I can't really have any fun. Like I want to go to the movies or get ice cream. So then there's this whole conversation about prioritizing your wants. Oftentimes we talk about prioritizing wants versus needs. That's sometimes easier, right? Like I know I don't need bubble gum, but I need a house to live in. This story is a little bit more nuanced where she has to prioritize among her wants. She wants to go to the movies. She wants ice cream. She wants a playhouse of her own so she can have a quiet space. And so she comes up with her solution is, well, if I save one of my 2 carats every week and I spend 1 carat a week so I can still have fun along the way, I can still get my dream, which is the goal, right? They don't call it a
Mhm.
goal, but her saving goal of 10 carats, she can do it. It'll just take her 10 weeks instead of 5. So as I was reading that book, I was like, I could totally make this relevant for second and third grade. Yes, it's written for, but that center page spread, and I recreated this on a printable so that you guys could use it. But like that center page spread in the book, if I can find it quickly. So I don't know if you can see this. Can you guys see this? I can't see my own picture, so I don't know. Yeah, so they have this in the center of the book, but then the next page, she's like, well, wait a minute, it's no fun if I can't go out and get ice cream so then she comes up with this solution. This is her plan now. She has a spending and savings plan. And so with the supplement, I created this page basically on a simplified one sheet, leaving the column blank. So you still earn 2 carats a week, and then students can decide, well, this week there might be a really cool show I want to go see, and I want ice cream and a ticket. So I might save nothing that week. But then maybe the next week I save both. You know what I mean? So you could definitely age this up from the simple storyline that's in the book. Just FYI. So that's awesome. Okay. Lacey, do you want to try again?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh,
You're there.
yay. So my name is Lacey. I'm with Extra Credit Union. We are also in Southeast Michigan. We are partnered with several school districts from Fitzgerald to Van Dyke Public Schools, all the way up to Yale. So a large variety there. It's me and one other coworker that take over the financial literacy portion of the credit union. So we are very busy with March's Reading Month. I was actually talking to Kelly right before the meeting started. Every March, we read to around 1,500 students throughout the community, and we target second graders with a story that we wrote in-house. And then, of course, can follow up with April with the Smart Money Kids Read program with different partnerships. But we're just really, really busy with presentation offers, and we are trying to keep them unique. Kids start losing interest when you're just sitting up there presenting a PowerPoint. So getting them more engaged and active has really been working out for us and getting us more and more requests. So we're pretty busy till the end of the school year. And yeah, I think that's about it right now.
Awesome. Well, you guys do such a great job also. Now I would like to ask for input. So you can see on the screen above or in front of you that some of the suggested topics for kind of guest speakers, we've been able to check them all off the list, except for the last one, which I want to chat about for a moment. But each of these, I want to draw attention to the fact that each of these previous topics have been recorded and are on our YouTube channel. So if someone is interested in learning about AI in FinLit, that recording is available. If they want to learn more about SmartPath, which is an incredible, Lynn, you should probably learn about SmartPath. It's an incredible free resource that is available for both traditional and non-traditional educators for really kindergarten through 8th grade or 1st grade through 8th grade. The personal finance law, you know, HB 50, when that was passed, like the implications of that. We did a get to know you MSUE and adult and 4-H back in January. So all these topics that we did a bit of a deep dive into, those recordings are available on our YouTube channel. So if folks aren't following our YouTube channel, aren't subscribed, I suggest you do that. And I do provide a link to the YouTube channel in every monthly e-blast that I send out. So the last one on the checklist that I wanted to discuss today and get your thoughts on is a couple people have said they'd love to learn more about student-run credit unions and the different models that credit unions use to implement this, the benefits, the pros and cons, and benefits and challenges of each. And I would love to do that. I'm just not sure if that is of interest broadly, or if that's something that you all would be interested in. So I would value your opinions. I envision it like we identify a couple credit unions that are doing, in-school credit unions that do it differently. Because I know, my daughter opened her credit union account in 2nd grade because that's when our elementary school allowed it. And we had a fantastic student-run credit union program in our elementary school at the time. I don't know if it still is. But because we're now, sophomores in high school, but that got us started with the credit union before we were at a bank. And so she now has a lot of accounts at the credit union, including her debit card. She's got a CD, and it's wonderful. So, but I know different credit unions have different implementation models, and there are challenges and benefits to all of them. So I'd love to have a conversation with those in the room. And I hate to single you out, but Kristen, Lacey from the credit union lens, Jacqueline from the library lens, and to talk about that and what you think about having that as kind of a featured segment, maybe at an April meeting, or we could do it in May. This would be a Zoom, so anybody across the state could participate.
This is Jacqueline.
Hi.
This is Jacqueline. Hi. In terms of student-run credit unions, I don't see that we at the library could do it, but the school might be interested in something along those lines.
And learning about how it's done in other places.
Yeah.
And I think libraries are often, like you're doing right now, you're often connectors.
Yes.
Right? It may not be something that you personally could implement, but it's something where you could connect somebody.
Mm-hmm.
You could share the knowledge of this is happening, even just to plant a seed or to spark an idea with your local schools.
Right. Yep.
So,
and I will say, go ahead, Kristen.
Okay. So we've had school branches on and off for the last 8 years. The pandemic hit us pretty bad and we weren't welcomed into some of those schools just because we had principal changes and they just weren't ready to listen. So this year is when I've been trying to reach out to more to try to be more receptive to that. But our most successful branch, which has been running that long, the whole time, it's very simple. We set up a table, we bring a lockbox. The student gets to spin a prize wheel, and then there's also a treasure chest that they can pick a prize from. So our goal was to make a deposit and then have something fun, feel good about it, get a prize. And then since then, with that same school, we've been able to go in and do like the read-alongs or little things like that. So
Sure.
some of our students that we started now are, you know, they opened their accounts when they were in like 3rd grade. Most of them are graduating high school now, so they're coming in and like same thing, opening debit cards, opening checking accounts. So
Right.
it's fun to educate the parent knowing that yes, you can start an account as a kindergartner or younger, and it can the account grows with you.
Right.
So
Because I envision my kid coming in for a car loan at some point. Right. Like, so, but she started as an 8-year-old making her $5 weekly deposit every Thursday. I sent her with $5 so she could go down and do. And so, okay, so so you staff it. So this is a different model, what you're describing. So in our elementary school, they had students that were assigned the teller jobs. They had students that were assigned like the runner jobs. My daughter was head of the marketing team, which means they made posters and did announcements over the PA, right? Remember, tomorrow's deposit day. So Lacey, do you want to chime in on this?
Yes. So very similar to what Kristen was just saying, we used to have several in-school student-run branches, and we had eliminated them just due to profitability, and we weren't seeing as much traffic come through them, and we changed our approach to be more facing with the students, parents, and like staff or community members. What we used to have, Kelly, what you're saying, like people would do different jobs. Like we had a security guard, and that person would go to the classes and get the students that wanted to make a deposit. Then we went to just myself and my teammate would run a table during lunches, and to try to get more participation at the table, we used to offer like monthly drawings where we would have a jar of money. It would say like how much money's in the jar, and then the winner would win the jar. Or who's your favorite teacher, your favorite class period, and then they would win like a sweet treat party. And that went over very well. However, we weren't seeing an increase in any memberships or any, questions coming more about the products and services we offer, because opening youth accounts isn't going to be profitable right now, right? But hopefully,
Sure.
like you're saying, it's going to be a lifelong membership. So when they do need their first car or
Right.
their home loan. So we're trying to shift that focus to where the information's not necessarily getting to the parents, especially at like a middle school, high school level. So that's why we switched our focus to try to be present with more parent and student events, because we don't also want to come across as salesy, like open our account, we
Sure.
have a lot of great benefits. And if they're just seeing a flyer, they're like, oh, and I have a 2nd grader, and I go through her folder and I'm pretty much throwing away half the stuff that's in there. So we don't want that to be our message. So that
Right.
is why we changed our focus.
Right. So do you think that if I had like, 3 or 4 credit union folks to share what they're doing and what the different models are and the benefits and challenges of each as kind of a featured segment in either April or May, do you think that would be of benefit? I mean, it was credit union people who suggested that we do this segment.
Yeah, I think it would be a good segment. And I think it would probably be better in May, because with April being financial literacy month, and maybe a lot going on that can give
Right.
different credit unions time to work over the summer, maybe to implement it in for next school year.
Gotcha.
But I know we've talked about this a lot, not necessarily in this group, but I'm also on the FEC
Yes.
connection meetings, and they talk about this a lot as well, like strengths, weaknesses, what people do. So I think that would be a great topic, so people can bounce off ideas, maybe what works for them can be implemented somewhere else and help them out.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think it would be very beneficial.
Okay.
yeah, I do
Okay.
too. A lot of the people that I bump into, they for me personally, they make it seem like it's a big job to create something like this. And for us at one point, we were shuffling between 4 different schools in 1 month, trying to fit them in different days. So it can be time consuming, but at the same time, the resources that you need are very minimal. And I don't think other credit unions realize how easy it can be to start one.
Okay. And so do you think that it would be I don't want to step on toes either, right? Since, you know, you have your FEC meetings, they're bi-monthly? I think they're bi-monthly,
Quarterly.
quarterly. Would this be redundant or unnecessary because you guys have those conversations in that group?
Have any of the three of you attended that? I don't know if it's the same attendance.
No,
So,
it's only credit union educators
right.
that
So
come to
maybe
FEC.
like Kristen, have you attended those meetings? Okay, so they are really good and worth attending. But if we're targeting a different group, and like you said, a lot of people watch the recordings, I
Yeah.
don't think that would be redundant at all.
Okay. Okay, cool. Well, then I'll look at the calendar and find a date in May. And that way too, it'll give people time to get it on their calendar, right? If I schedule something now for May, hopefully, you know, people can get it on their schedule. Thank you. I appreciate you guys sharing your perspectives on that. So I'll get it scheduled, and then, you know, Kristen and Lacey, if you would put some thought into what credit unions do you think do a really good job? If you know, like who does a good job with in-school credit union or in community, like youth focused, somewhere in the community credit union stuff. Give some thought to that and tell me who you think would be good to have as part of our kind of planted. Everyone can contribute in that meeting, right? Like this, like sharing ideas, what works, what doesn't work. But I'd like to have a core group of 3 or 4 people who are ready to speak about what they do and because also what they try and didn't work is as valuable as what is working. So if you wouldn't mind shooting me an email, if you have any ideas of what credit unions do this well, I would really appreciate that. Because then I can I can reach out and invite and tell them what we're thinking. And because I only know the people I know, right? Like I don't know anybody around the state, across the state very well. I only know the credit unions in my local area that I've had interactions with, or that my kid is, a member of. So I would love to have your input on who you think might be good as kind of part of that featured segment. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, well, we're coming up on our time here, and I'd love to be able to give you 10 minutes of your life back. So does anyone have any parting questions about FemPreneur Summit, Smart Money Kids Read, Funding the Future, Smart Money Magic Show, anything at all? Questions, comments, concerns? And please help us promote the FemPreneur Summit. We still have capacity for participation. I'm just getting ready to send out an email to all of our exhibitors and panelists with the graphics to help promote it. Our exhibitor space is sold out, but it's a great networking opportunity. And so even Kristen, from a business development perspective, I would come. Like if you can come next Wednesday, I would just come, even though you're not an exhibitor. Credit unions are welcome to come. Lake Trust is fine with that. We've talked about it. It's just that they're the sponsor of the event, so they have the signage. But it's a great networking opportunity. Amazing women. We're expecting probably 120 people. Right now we're at 75, and so we have capacity. And this happens every year. It's gotten worse since the pandemic. People do not register early, and it is so hard as the planner. But this is what we've dealt with for the past few years. I'm like, come on. Everyone says, yeah, I'm going to be there. I'm like, but I don't see your name on the list. You need to register. So if you could help us push it out, we have a FemPreneur page on Facebook where I'm posting a different exhibitor a day. We've put it out on LinkedIn. We've done some paid advertising, but it really is word of mouth. So we'd appreciate any help you can provide for women within like an hour's radius of the Livonia, Northville area, because we do it at the conference center at Ward Church at their Northville campus is where it's held. Cool. All right. Well, thank you all. Enjoy this gorgeous day. I wore my St. Patrick's Day green because I won't see you all before Monday. So have a great week, and I will talk to you anytime I'm available, though, mifinancialwellness@gmail.com. You guys know that. So I'm always available 24/7, and I'm pretty good at responding to email in my wonky hours. I work real early and sometimes real late because I'm, frenetic during the business day, but I'm always here. So thank you all. Have a great week. Bye.